Did ancient humans have free time all day? What did people do before jobs existed 20,000 years ago? There were no alarm clocks. There were no Mondays. There were no offices. And nobody had to wake up for a 9-to-5 job. But that doesn't mean humans spent their days doing nothing. In fact, for nearly 99% of human history, the idea of a job simply didn't exist. There was no money, no companies, and no bosses. Yet somehow, humans survived. They built cities, created civilizations, and eventually came to dominate the entire planet. So the question is, before jobs existed, what did people actually do after waking up every morning? Did ancient humans really have unlimited free time? Or was their life much harder than we imagine? And if you were sent back 20,000 years into the past, would you even survive for a week? Today we're traveling thousands of years back in time to discover how humans lived before money, careers, and the modern world. A morning modern humans would barely imagine waking up, not to the sound of an alarm clock, but to the gentle light of the rising sun and the songs of birds. You're not lying in a bedroom. There is no ceiling fan above you, no smartphone beside you. Instead, you're beneath the open sky. Around you are about 30 people. They are your family, your community, and your entire world. You don't have anywhere to go today, but that doesn't mean you have nothing to do. Because 20,000 years ago, humanity had one responsibility above all else: survival. And surviving was far more difficult than any job we have today. But surprisingly, even in that harsh world, humans still had something many of us lack today: time. And that's what makes this story so fascinating. Because if ancient people spent their lives fighting for survival, when exactly did they find time to rest? The answer lies in the way they lived. Humanity's first job: staying alive. Today, we work for money, but ancient humans worked for food. As the sun rose, some members of the group went hunting. Others gathered fruits, roots, nuts, and seeds. Water was brought from rivers. Firewood was collected. Children learned simply by watching adults. There were no schools. Nature itself was their teacher. Every day taught them something new: which plants were poisonous, which animals were dangerous, and where to travel during different seasons. In other words, every moment of their lives was connected to learning. But here's the surprising part. Even after doing all of that, they didn't spend 8 or 10 hours working like we do today. So where did the rest of their time go? That's where our story takes an interesting turn. Did they really have that much free time? Believe it or not, studies suggest that hunter-gatherers often spent only a few hours each day gathering food. The rest of the day was theirs. But their free time looked very different from ours. There were no phones, no televisions, no endless scrolling on social media. Instead, they spent time with one another. They played with children, made tools, prepared weapons, and most importantly, they talked, because humans have always been social creatures. Perhaps this was when stories were born. Perhaps this was when music first appeared. And maybe for the first time, humans looked up at the stars and asked, "Who are we?" But if their lives were so peaceful, why does history seem filled with stories of struggle and survival? Because there was another side to this story, and it wasn't nearly as beautiful. One small mistake could mean death today. If we get injured, we go to a doctor. If we're hungry, we order food. And when bad weather arrives, we stay safely inside our homes. But 20,000 years ago, none of those options existed. One wrong step, one poisonous plant, one infected wound, and your entire life could come to an end. Nightfall didn't just bring darkness, it brought fear. Because humans weren't alone in the wild. There were wolves, bears,